are live, late but live, here on the Point Three Podcast live stream Wednesday. We are your favorite, that's right, yours favorite trio of hosts. Probably not someone's favorite trio of hosts after if they watch this video or live stream down the line. But Lou, super fantastic Spider Brando starting today, probably, and myself, Hero Scroll. Thank you so much for joining us. If you haven't, make sure you're subscribed to us and all that good jazz. But, gentlemen, we are going to be talking about basically the state of the MCU in less than 24 hours. Fantastic Four will be dropping, which is going to be a pivotal point for the MCU. We're going to be talking about that next week in more detail, reviewing the movie, both spoiler and non-spoiler. So be on the lookout for that. But over the weekend, Marvel Studios head leader came out, Kevin Feige. They finally let him out and said, go talk to people. And he did. He went on with the Hollywood Reporter and made some very interesting comments about a lot of things within the MCU. Now, quick plug in for us, because if you've been following us for a while or if you're new here, Discord. If you're not in Discord, make sure you're over there because we talked about this as it dropped for a very long time, and we were still talking about it up until now. So join us there. Gentlemen, I'm going to throw it over to you guys. How did you guys feel as this article came out? And Lou, I'll throw it over to you because I think you sent it first, and you were really the catalyst for how we started this conversation.
Yeah, I mean, listen, y'all. Reading this in totality got my blood boiling a little bit. As someone who I feel like is a very strong MCU fan and really wants the MCU to succeed, I want the DCU to I want everything superhero related to succeed. Like, I just think it's just such a slept on world still to this day, almost 100 years in officially. Like, it's just kind of crazy. However, reading it and knowing that it was coming from Feige, there's still always that like Feige stigma that carries over from the Infinity Saga where you're like, he speaks and we're going to know more things and there's going to be announcements and it's going to be really exciting and it's going to give us something to clarify the past, excite us in the present, and then prepare us for the future. But a lot of things in this article were kind of retrospective comments from Kevin Feige that I ultimately felt were super contradictory, and I walked away from I put my phone down on the counter. I remember telling my wife, I was like, I can't believe what I'm reading. Like, it just didn't feel real for a second. And then I really landed on Liar Island, and I'm like, you just sounded like you just talked out of both cheeks. Like, yeah, just like you're spewing junk. It really felt like that. And I know a bunch of people were posting it about certain things that were kind of trickling out, like, Hollywood Reporter had it, and then like, Variety posts some stuff, and Yahoo's posting stuff, and then all of your social media favorites are posting stuff, and like you're getting this like, oh, Kevin Feige's giving us news, and then you start reading it, and you're like, why are you deflecting? Why are you putting the MCU in this state? Why are you nerfing all of the things that we have fans who are regulars and hardcores and beyond have invested so much time in? You're like, yeah, we made a mistake. We're good though, right? You guys are good. Oh, we planned this all along. And that we'll get into that comment, I think, in a little bit here. But yeah, for me personally, didn't love it. And cap emoji. That's all I'm throwing out there,
bro. Yeah. Kevin Feige cap emoji.
Yeah.
With whatever cap of the day he wears.
Whatever cap of the day he has. Boys, we're clicking already. Less than 5 minutes in, we're on the same page.
Yeah. Yeah. SB, how about you, man?
I read it a little. No, I've read the full thing, but as it was, I learned most about it through our Discord because you guys were going pretty much through the article and talking about it and sending like links or screenshots of it. So that was pretty much how I first found out about most of this info. And the more and more it went on, and once I finally did get to reading it myself, it's nuts. It's crazy how much there's deflected in there, like you said. And it didn't really seem like, I don't know, for like Fantastic Four coming out on tomorrow as of recording this, it didn't really give me the hype that, like, I was hoping to get an interview from like the big boss, or I guess the man in charge. It made it feel a little worse for the MCU overall. And just to see them how they change paths certain ways in a stupid way that everybody wanted Kang, and then just goes and says that nobody wanted him, or that Kang wasn't as powerful as like a Thanos, even though Kang is literally multiversal and insane, and if properly done and like built up right, would have been that Thanos level threat. But psych, they didn't. They just blatantly moved on. I know Majors had that whole stuff going on, and people still liked his performance nonetheless. And all that stuff happened after Quantumania. So to say that they were flipping the switch before that just makes it feel weird. And if they really wanted to, they could recast Kang, knowing there's multiverse, and they have done recasts before in the past. So that's kind of like obviously what started it off all for me in there. So I just don't understand. Like, even in the Lego Marvel Superheroes 2, Kang is freaking threatening in that shit. And that's in a Lego game.
I was gonna say, you're gonna have to go to
Like,
Lego.
even in Quantumania, he was the best part about Quantumania.
Yeah.
And the way they built him up. And then just, I don't know. Like I said, I get the whole actor had legal issues going on and everything. What he did is fucked up, messed up. But at the same time, like, they've recasted before. They could have done that and just been like, oh, it's multiversal.
Which, and I think to that point too, it kind of like this article pulled in like old breadcrumbs that we've talked about in other live streams, especially from the standpoint of like, is the MCU character bigger than the actor playing the MCU character? And for the longest time, it was like, are you an MCU star? Are you a movie star? And for the longest, it was like, well, characters are always bigger than the actors. And then you get to this and you're like, is it though? Is it?
Yeah.
Especially in that portion of the article, that was one thing that I kind of went back to, and I'm like, I don't really think so. And one thing, and here I know you'll talk about it. One thing I did want to say about the Fantastic Four piece, because we'll get into it, but the comment of, we didn't want to have the Eternals issue of where were they? Where have they been? How come they didn't help with Thanos? He explained, we wanted them to be a part of our realities, so we didn't have to say, oh, look, hey, they were hiding over here. And in that same article, he's talking about James Gunn's Superman film. And he texted James Gunn to let him know how much he liked it. I love how you just jumped right into it, Feige enthused of the film. You don't know who Mr. Terrific is? Tough, you'll figure it out. You don't know what this is? Just go. This is a fully fleshed out world. And for me, I'm like, bro, are you contradicting yourself right off the bat? There are questions, and he's like, well, for Superman, and then like, it's a big world. Stuff is already happening. Just go. You'll figure it out.
I got another point for that. I have two more. One that I just thought of connects to your contradiction point is in the other part of the article why he says how Thunderbolts failed because of all the homework that has to go into it. One, it's like literally you just explained right there that how much he liked that DC universe and getting just thrown into there. Thunderbolts, I just rewatched it last night, and first time since theaters, and that shit cooked. I watched it with two people that had never ever seen like any of the TV shows. They just watched the main movies and they loved it. Both of them really enjoyed it, and just like, you don't need to. He even says in the article that like, if you see the movie, you don't need to like see the homework for it. But then says,
yeah,
that like, so funny.
Yeah. The Marvels hit
brings
the
up the
hardest.
Marvels also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say it.
I'll say he brings up the Marvels hit the hardest, where people are like, okay, I recognize her from a $1 billion movie, but who are those other two? I guess they were in some TV show. I'll skip it. But then it's like, that's such a. I mean, we have seen people comment that on our posts before, but to like have the main guy, or just to have Feige like address it in this way to just like deflect it like it's our fault was really annoying about it. And what really pisses me off, because then we go into Doomsday and how he's gonna hype up this freaking movie that's gonna bring in the freaking X-Men, Fantastic Four, Deadpool, everybody in freaking Secret Wars. And then like how much homework you're gonna have to do for all that shit. Like what? How? Like I don't understand.
That aspect, I'm so glad you brought that up, because I think out of all the people that I've seen talk about this whole article in general, between TikTok, social media, all social medias, YouTube, I feel like no one has hit that point of they try to. Feige through his comments tries to make it be like, yes, it was our fault because like we did too much. But it was also the fans, because you guys just kind of like, you know, you were like, I don't want to do this. So we got to find a way to make sure that the Eternals isn't a problem or that Miss Marvel isn't a problem. And it's like, if you watch the Marvels, you can get a good sense of who Miss Marvel is. You can get a good sense of Monica Rambeau's character. And then for him to come out and say, oh, well, and I understand he's trying to put himself in the fans' perspective, but if you are someone who, if that's the perspective you're going to have, it shows that all you care about is the very, 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 very casual people. And that there's no love for the people who actually want to support your product. And that's the part that I think is the most damning out of everything. How it always ends up going back to the fans not doing enough. Oh, Thunderbolts failed because it had characters that were on a Disney Plus show, according to Feige. No, that's not why it failed. It failed because you changed the marketing about 5 or 6 times in the span of a year.
And barely even marketed it until the last like 2 months.
Yeah. And then you started marketing it really back in February to the casual with, like you said, a couple months to go, like 3 months. That isn't enough time for you to want and build enough hype to bring this up for people when you're trying to establish new characters.
Imagine if they did like a history of like we just got history of Fantastic Four in all like 90 minutes of comics. Imagine if they just simply did like who like Yelena's like MCU appearances, or like who are these characters as part of the marketing. Boom. Like their messaging has been terrible throughout these past like phase 4 and 5.
Absolutely.
And he even says, but I think we still have to make sure the audience understands that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like I don't know, just with that, like that at the end of the whole quote before that, just still doesn't. I don't know. It still doesn't sound right to me.
I think there's a big correlation too, because during the whole time, and I think ultimately it was smart in the end. But we were talking about the whole thing on the road to Superman and Fantastic Four. Superman crushed marketing everywhere you went. You saw Superman merchandise. You saw it on kids had it, adults had it, everyone in between had it. Like everyone knew.
Heroes Con 2025.
Yeah, which we made the movie what it was today. But you didn't see that big Who Are the Fantastic Four push and get the visuals that we were kind of asking for earlier. And for some people, you can be like, well, they don't want to compete with Superman. Like, I'm going to call garbage on that. Like, they tried in the time they went to have that. We was their best forward, wasn't, and really nice push. And the movie has, I mean, you look at the numbers, it's the pre-sale tickets have grown exponentially. Internationally, like there's a huge boom. They had a nice, again, that thing SB you were talking about, gets to know the Fantastic Four in 90 minutes. I thought it was great. I thought it was one of the coolest things that they've done in a long time to catch you up. Like for us, we know how time intensive it is to even do 3 issues of a story. It takes us 30 minutes ish just to even get to that point, to like do everything in the production that goes behind it. Point of what I'm saying with this though is you can't sit here and say to the fans, well, you guys were overloaded, then claim that there's no such thing as superhero fatigue, and then come back around and be like, it's your guys' fault why this movie didn't do that well.
Exactly. And then simultaneously be like, well, we tried to give the fans what we wanted. We wanted to give you guys Oscar Isaac as Moon Knight. We wanted to give you that. We wanted to
Ought to
give
be
you
fun.
Miss Marvel. People wanted that for years, so go have it. But like at the same time, we messed up because we didn't really review the quality of that, blah, 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 blah. And then later on, still come out and be like, oh, you wanted Kang? We didn't.
Yeah.
Screw you. Oh, you want Blade? Well, guess what? We don't want him doing the thing you want. We don't want him in a cool costume killing vampires. We don't want that.
No.
Hey, we got Sinners out of it, and that's gonna be my biggest butterfly.
You were gonna get Sinners regardless. Ryan Coogler was gonna go do what Ryan Coogler wanted to do.
It's just like, yo, you're not.
His biggest
No, bro.
From what had to do with something about Blade.
Listen. Ryan Coogler was smart enough to know, be like, y'all aren't using those costumes. Can I borrow those? Because you're not going to put them on warm bodies for a long time.
Yeah,
so
true.
let's put them to use. And then you're like, well, guys, we couldn't make our movies because Ryan Coogler took our costumes. Like, darn.
But
what are we going to do?
And then this is how you know that they don't.
Not even took
To
them. They
me-
sold it to him.
Right?
Yeah.
There's like,
Bro,
I'll buy 'em
I gave it
for
away. Like, what are
pennies,
you doing with my
probably.
stuff? It's like,
Yeah, for
you gave
pennies. And this is how you know that I just think Marvel overall right now, and again, there's going to be outliers with certain things, I think are just in the lazy path of things, to where the Kang comments and being like, to quote him, we had started even before what had happened to the actor. We had started to realize that Kang wasn't big enough, wasn't Thanos. And you hear that and you're like, if you really think about it, Thanos wasn't built up till Infinity War, realistically. And the only other like standalone MCU film that really did anything of substance with Thanos was Guardians 1. Everything else didn't really do anything for Thanos. He felt big because of Infinity War and what they did in the event. But looking back, there wasn't a buildup. With Kang, you had all the time, no pun intended, to build him up, and you could have literally made him the focal point of every movie for the phase, and everybody would have been okay with that, because we understand what you're trying to build up to. It's just lazy. And then again, going back with the Blade thing, where you're like, we've had four scripts. You mean to tell me none of them are working? That at some point, fool me once, yes, I can understand that maybe that one script wasn't bad, but four scripts.
Hey, it's taken 4 Fantastic Four movies to hope to get this best one.
It is 4.
It is 4, but it's also very different.
I did do the math.
Throw the 4 up. It's also just very different, though. So I don't know.
Let's talk about the King thing, right? We're not going to probably talk about the Jonathan Majors piece. No, Feige didn't address him specifically in that, but I wanted to go back to that comment. If you guys didn't read this, again, read it for yourself and come to your own conclusions. 1, I think that's super important. But 2, when Feige did this is the one piece that kind of irked me the most. And if you go back, and this is documented on the Point 3 podcast, when He Who Remains said, "See you soon," straight Cuddy style, we all were like, that's pretty cool. Sounds like a big threat is coming. This guy's a pretty bad dude. And then the trailer drops for Quantumania, and you get the tease of like, Ant-Man is talking about the Avengers. He's captured at that point. And he's like, "Have I killed you? Like, I've killed the Avengers. Like, I've taken the Avengers out. That's the biggest thing." Everyone's like, "Damn! Like, they did a good job. I'm sorry, but they did a good job." I'm not sorry. They
I was
did a
gonna
good
say
job.
we're not sorry.
No, we're not sorry. We're not sorry. But I just going down this again, just to like explain where my head was at this time. I'm like, you invested 2 seasons of Loki and a full movie to kick off your phase 5. So 4, it was 5.
I would say everybody felt the threat of Kang
100%.
from a TV show.
The TV mistake.
That
Oh
was
wait, no, that was
also a mistake.
praise. That was praise, but it's too much content. I mean, who can watch Loki and still have it as one of their highest rated MCU projects and be like, it's just too much. Like, I just can't remember it.
WandaVision.
Or WandaVision. 2 shows that got us through the COVID time, by the way.
Mhm. Great shows, great shows. My cousin has Loki as his like #1, like anything MCU.
Yeah,
Just crazy. Not crazy, but it's really good. But
you don't get people being cool with how Loki season 2 ended without season 1, right? You just don't, and that should make sense. But here's the kicker with that, though, right? Hero, you had mentioned it, right? He wasn't big enough. He wasn't Thanos, and there was only one character that could be that, because he was that in the comics for decades and decades. Because of the Fox acquisition, we finally had it, and it was Doctor Doom. So we had started talking about Doctor Doom even before we officially pivoted from Kang. And in fact, I had started talking with Robert Downey Jr. about this audacious idea before Ant-Man 3 even came out. It was a long plan that we had to take one of our greatest characters and utilize one of our greatest actors. So, one last thing. It came out that we had Val knowing that the new Avengers thing was going to happen in Thunderbolts and that we weren't going to have an Avengers team. And then for this, before the big movie that every single person went into thinking this is how they're going to set up Kang to be the big bad in this. And even if we get Doom, that's fine, because people are speculating Doom because of the acquisition. But this is the start of like the next big thing that we can latch onto. Hey, they're making it bigger than the Infinity Saga by starting this way, giving us something that they never gave us with Thanos. That's for me going through the ride of seeing Jonathan Majors and all these projects post Ant-Man. That was a waste of time, because it was not, you literally said it was not, nothing was going to happen. We're going to pivot away. Okay.
And that's ultimately why all these projects don't feel as good. And then that's honestly why for a lot of people Quantumania is as bad as it is. I'm not going to sit here and say it's great. It's not. But it's not as bad as people think it is. It ages poorly because of comments like these. It was already aging poorly because of the Kang stuff in general. But this has basically, they had mold on it and they were like, throw more mold on it.
Yeah.
Throw some scientific mold on it.
Yeah.
6 feet under, put it 12 feet under.
Yeah.
Right.
Bury it deeper. That's basically what they did with this. They told you your time was going to be wasted either way. And then he comes out and he's like, oh, this was going to happen before Ant-Man 3 came out. We had these ideas with the Fox merger. Well, the Fox merger really ended or was finalized in 2019. So what you're telling me is I can only think how far back this actually went. Where Loki came out, what, 21, 22?
21.
Yeah. So you're telling me sometime around, he says before Ant-Man 3. So, some people might take that and be like, well, oh, they had the idea then. This was a 2020, a 2022 thing. No, this goes probably further back. Because that's when he says he started talking with RDJ about it. Who knows how long ago they started talking about throwing Kang in the trash?
But think about that though, guys, for a second. 50 plus hours that we got in a handful of years. And we're at this point now with the start of phase 6, which we're going to talk about Fantastic Four in a little bit. They knew that they were going to shift away from the big bad, and we knew that we weren't going to get an Avengers movie. On top of Matt Shackman talking about how Mr. Fantastic is supposedly supposed to be built to lead the Avengers. Right, that's not even in this article. That's a separate thing. To be like, oh, by the way, everyone is speculating and thinking, and you're leading us to believe over and over again, there's going to be an Avengers team. Why wouldn't there be an Avengers team? Be on the lookout. And then Feige says, there's no Avengers team. You have the Thunderbolts. And then they do the whole thing with the Thunderbolts, and like, ta-da, and we're like, okay, cool. We're going to buy in again. And there's like, by the way, we're going to delay some stuff just because. It makes it feel like everything that happened post Endgame to really now was a waste of time. You could delete all of those projects and we could start the MCU up again after. This could be the first project after Endgame. And I don't think it would make a difference.
No. I mean, and again, this is what they're telling you, especially when he comes out and he makes comments that are like, "Oh, I've never been satisfied with a movie that we've made or project that we've made." And I get it; it's meant to sound more perfectionist, but it really comes more across of like, if that's the case, then like, why didn't you fix some of these issues that you, in previous interviews, said you had no knowledge about? But you come and you look at certain things and you see the contradictions and you're like, I don't understand where these go from. So where do the lies go? Another big example with the Kang thing is that for the longest time, the Russos were like, we're done with Marvel. We're not coming back. Last year, SDCC, literally this time last year, they come out, announce Doomsday, Secret Wars, and like, we're back. And we're back because RDJ is back and they gave us Secret Wars. And the only reason we came back is because of that. So if this idea was thrown as far back as 2022, then why did it take them so long to come back? Again, you look at all these things and you're just like, it makes little to no sense.
Yeah.
At all.
We won't get into it. We talked about it on Discord, but go back and look at the Russo's timelines from when they announced RDJ to their conversations. I think their conversations are more candid and true to this, where Feige's been like, we had this plan all along. And the Russo's like, we literally didn't come back because there was no plan. And even when we decided to come back, everyone's like, hey, there might be a story here, but it literally feels like, and boy, are we going to talk about this next week. They don't have a plan. They don't have a plan. And I can't say it, but they don't have a freaking plan.
No. And I mean, again, you look at so many of the other things that have come out since Doomsday, or since Doomsday's really been announced, how they've announced things, how this project has been set up before Fantastic Four, we're assuming. Where is the setup? Where is the setup? You can't tell me you have a plan when we're less than a year out, and you're meaning to tell me this is supposed to be bigger than Thanos, but you've done nothing. Get out of here with
And
that.
erase the last attempt.
Right. Which had better build up, in my opinion, than Thanos had. And again,
Absolutely.
this is not taking away from Thanos. This is not taking away from the Infinity Saga. But the hard part is the message seems like we want this to be bigger than the Infinity Saga. And of course, why wouldn't they want to make as much money as possible in the box office? If you didn't, then you wouldn't glaze Thunderbolts after opening weekend when people are like, oh my gosh, the MCU is back. And then after it doesn't make as much money as you had hoped it does, that you're just like, well, it's because people didn't know who they were. And it's like, every rating has this super high. Don't blame the fans that they didn't show out. Blame you guys aren't giving people, and this is strictly to the MCU. This has been the problem, and this is number one sin of the MCU. you're not giving people a main story to follow, and you deleted the first one, and now you're expecting people to retroactively know, hey, this is going to be a big deal, but not do homework. Again, SB, said it. It makes no sense. It makes literally no sense.
No, it really doesn't. Which I think at this point we can ask a couple questions now that might open up the conversation in terms of bigger state of the MCU things. Now that we have all these Feige interviews or interview quotes and fresh in our mind, and kind of understand where we are coming from with this, because I think that's important for the context of it. Where again, Fantastic Four is coming out in less than 24 hours, and it's supposed to start Phase 6, which is supposed to be a huge shift focus for the MCU. So keeping all of this in mind, gentlemen, let me know what you think with this first question. Do you think Marvel can really, really succeed in making a film that is standalone, or will the fans, kind of the expectations that fans have, inevitably, shout out Thanos, make them want to have more connections?
I'm
I'm
going
still
to throw
find out
one.
Fantastic Four.
I
See how
was going
people
to,
feel about that.
but even with Fantastic Four, it takes place on its own universe. It literally is not connected to anything. So the next thing that we're most likely going to want is, hey, how do you take these characters that we know and love that are in the MCU and plop them into a world that we are very familiar with? And that's 616. That's literally been the number one thing people are looking for in this leading up to it, is how do the Fantastic Four and Doom get in the 616? That is like number one thing that most people are going to ask after this. And I think fans will definitely inevitably expect, hey, let's look over the fence. It's something that we talked about for the last 6 months of like, after Thunderbolts, everyone praised Thunderbolts, but it was instantly, hey, that post-credit scene, how does it connect to the future? And people start peeking over the fence. And now you get a movie like Spider-Man in here. What was the biggest thing we were talking about? How does it fit in the multiverse? What other characters are going to show up? How does Spider-Man move into a Doomsday? How does he's not even announced for Doomsday. What's going to happen in the movies, so that is he going to face a Robert Downey Jr.? Like, that is what gets people going, is you're adding little things to the movie and they'll enjoy it over the course of the 2 hours or less. And eyes are going to be on the next thing that leads to the big team up. That's what people ultimately want in the MCU. And my only final reason to say that is because even now, people are saying, I hope the MCU's back with the Fantastic Four. What does that even mean? Because if the MCU hasn't been back after Thunderbolts, and hasn't been back with Daredevil, and hasn't been back with Ironheart, and hasn't been back with Brave New World, what's missing? An Avengers team and a big villain that people can take all of these projects and point them towards. And clearly, based on Feige's article, we weren't going to have those anyways. But yet, that's what we've been looking at and what we've been led to believe for the last 13 years. There's more coming. Stay tuned.
It really doesn't help also when you have Kevin Feige the week before come out and kind of be like, hey, this world is going to show up in Doomsday.
I forgot about that.
That's what you wanted, right?
Oh, I forgot about it.
It really doesn't help, because I think it takes the mystique, and then people still even want more now to really look at over the fence and be like, well, if that's going to happen, then I need to see like what is actually going to happen. I really don't care about the Fantastic Four. I just need to see Doomsday then. Like, they're treating Doomsday or First Steps as a stepping stone.
Dude, you're killing it with the puns tonight.
I know, dude.
Now,
Literally,
you said
literally,
mystique
this is
earlier.
you, bro.
You
I'm
said the invisible stepping stone, first step.
Dang,
There's something
time.
else earlier. Oh yeah, there's something else earlier that got me.
These are
I gotta
all
catch the
unintentional.
replay.
Yeah, these are all unintentional, by the way. I think this is really like taking the passion out. I think for all of us, where it's like we want this to work, but the pieces aren't fitting. They're just not. And again, Marvel's is like, hey, we want you to, and SB, you said it perfectly earlier. We want you to enjoy, not have to do any homework. By the way, Doomsday, how are you going to understand any of what's going to happen? You're probably going to have to watch Iron Man. Did you watch Iron Man recently? No? Okay, go back and watch this 15-year-old
X2.
movie. Yeah. By the way, the X-Men are going to be in it. When's the
Yeah.
last time you
Who?
watched the original X-Men, by the way? Oh, like 5 years? Go watch that.
Who are all these characters?
Did you watch Thunderbolts?
Yeah, but you know
No?
where
But
you
guess
can
what?
find out about them? Go look on Disney Plus at this
Yeah.
brand new header that we threw on there. Marvel Legacy.
Yeah.
Watch all those. That's gonna be really cool. Also $20.99
Yeah.
for your
Thunderbolts? Guess
subscription.
what? They're going to be your main team. Did you watch Thunderbolts? No. Guess
Oh,
where you're gonna
no?
watch it? Disney Plus in a couple months. Woo woo.
All right,
And you know what's so crazy? They don't even have it on Disney Plus before Fantastic Four comes out.
What?
That's
Thunderbolts?
that's pretty typical though, because
You can rent it for $50 though.
Go to Amazon
Type in dude, SB, type in where I can watch Thunderbolts and see how much it costs to rent it.
It's
on,
like
Google or
30.
something.
It's like 30 or 40 bucks, I think. It's something crazy.
It's gross.
Yeah.
It was gross because
$24.99.
dude, $44.99. I swear.
$24.99.
Oh,
You can rent
oh.
it for $24.99 or buy it for $29.99.
So
Well,
30
they
bucks
bumped it
to buy.
down, bro.
Okay.
That's insane.
Yeah. It's a
It's
lot.
not even a steelbook. That's a freaking digital.
Yeah, no, it's just
Oh.
the digital own. Yeah. Yeah. Overall, to answer that one question, the MCU will never, in my opinion, until after Secret Wars, have a chance to rid itself of the expectation of connections. It will never. Because one of the biggest, and I truly mean the biggest gripes that you will always hear these reviewers and fans come out and say about the films is, well, this didn't connect with the MCU, so it sucks.
But not everything has to connect, but this one definitely should.
Yeah. But at the same time, Marvel does it to themselves.
Dude,
They
do.
really do.
They do.
Like you said, Spider-Man, Feige, guys, we're giving you what you want. You like that? You like that street level Spider-Man? And people are like, yeah, I do. When is he coming out? Right before Doomsday. You're like, what?
So how does that lead into Doomsday? That makes no sense.
Don't worry about it. It doesn't. By the way, the Punisher's going to be in it. Huh?
So it's going to be R-rated?
No. The Punisher's going to say freaking the entire time.
Yeah.
And use rubber bullets. You like that, don't you?
Shout out to the special presentation for old Frank.
Dude, I can't lie. I ate all those Spider-Man comments up. Except for the Miles stuff. That puts a damper in my
We'll get to Miles. We'll get to Miles. But this is the thing, dude, is it's so ingrained into the core fan who again, if you guys know the demographics on this or the numbers too, like the split of like MCU fans that some crazy companies done like studies on. I think the majority of fans now that are like the core were the ones who grew up at the time when like Infinity War was peaking. Like that was extra amazing. And it's not at the point now where I feel like it's full nostalgia bait, like No Way Home or Deadpool and Wolverine were, but it's getting close. And we're going to talk about this on the road to Doomsday. RDJ ain't it. He ain't the nostalgia that you're looking for this one. And it's just, there's too many questions. It's a little too messy for it to make any sense. However, I do want to ask the second question to you guys. Here, I'm going to throw this to you first. When Feige was talking about his scaling back part of the article, do you think that fewer Marvel releases each year will make fans more excited? Or are they going to risk losing that MCU cultural momentum?
That's a good one.
I really do think they lose the momentum if they don't as much. Would I scale back some? Yes. But as much as whatever they're planning to do, probably not. Because I think you should be at the forefront of people's minds, especially when Marvel. The unique thing about Marvel is there is so many characters that you can focus and tell many different types of stories. And I know we'll get to that piece a little later, but you can tell so many different kinds of stories to where it will always be fresh and new, but still have your stamp on it. And that's the one thing that they haven't really taken advantage of.
That's what you think.
I was gonna say, I think it would win back fans. A lot of people, a lot of my core group of friends that I go to see these movies with don't really watch the TV shows or they don't do the homework per se because it's just like so much and it takes a lot of time for them to watch these shows. It's worth it.
Question.
Yes.
Is that as a result of the quality of show, or do you think because there's no payoff to put in the time to watch the show?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
But my point being still that I think it also will go into a little bit of both to get them back because with less output, it should be better quality into what they're doing. Like Gun, I think Gun, I was going to bring up, had it like perfect. Just saying like 2 movies and like 2 TV shows a year. I'm like, just give me that. Like, make that like the Marvel like standard and like tie everything else that we're talking about of like make them kind of connect and have an overarching plot. And I think that'll get its momentum back even with less output. So I do agree. I mean, Hero pretty much said like scaling back the output a little bit, but um I don't think it'll I don't think it'll lose people. I think it'll gain a lot of people back.
Uh, I'll say this: I don't. I think it might gain the people who are open minded enough to it.
That's true. I
I
think
don't
they've
think it.
lost just too many people in general.
But I was going to say at the same time, I don't think those people were in it for the long haul for Marvel. They wanted that quick payoff. They want that instant gratification. They don't want the longer storytelling, which is why more than likely Doomsday will be for them. They'll win them back for Doomsday because it's literally going to be Doomsday Secret Wars. And then I'm done. I can get out. They don't want that long term storytelling.
And that's I think the core thing too of where even pulling Superman back into it, for as much as people griped about like it was an ensemble movie, it was too big and blah 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 blah. It was a low investment movie in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
You didn't need to bring anything with you into this to enjoy it, but you came out of it having sticky points that are memorable. You have memorable moments and characters that will carry you to the next film. And the momentum that was made with, hey, this is Superman, this is what he does. Here's a connection to the next character. And they're literally passing the baton to Supergirl. It was money. And people are like, well, why didn't? It's like, because he didn't say it. Like, he didn't ask. Like, he doesn't know. Like, find out and go watch the next movie. If you're someone who's asking a question, wait until the movie comes out. If you're someone who's not asking a question, oh, by the way, there's a movie that's coming out. And the marketing was super cool. And it was subtle enough to tie things in. So when you are a casual and you see it, when you see look up and it's crossed out and there's something underneath, you're smart enough to see, why is that crossed out? Something else underneath meant something. This means something different. I get that. But that's also assuming your fan base of people who see this are actually smart and have more of a brain to deduce that there's something going on here. Like, hey, there's trouble down in the fire station. Get help. Like, people are just like, let it burn. But back to your guys' point with that of like the investment piece, that's the hard part when you go back and look at these 50 plus hours that came across phase 4 and 5. Because when you had Miss Marvel stem to the Marvels, all that did was take new characters roll them up into another project that gave you more questions than answers, and then you end the movie with a big question mark. Hey, they're going to start a team. A team of what? Young people. We're going to call them the Young Avengers. Are you? No, we didn't commit to it. I don't know. So it's like stupid, unanswered questions that you got. And then a post-credit scene where it's like, oh, Monica ends up in a different world. This is the Fox. Like, what Fox worlds is this? Like, who is this? Why is Beast back?
Yeah. By the way,
But then you're gonna say the Marvels doesn't matter. In Doomsday, we get X-Men that may be from that exact Earth. You're like, well, I wish I would have known that before. It's like, well, if you would have watched the movie. Anyways, I digress. I digress on that. I ultimately think the one asterisk to this is the success of the DCU. Because if you scale back as Marvel and your quality isn't high, and not only are you competing with animated shows that are going to be coming up and animated movies, a good DCU, there's going to be other content for you to enjoy, and you're going to have to make a choice. If you're someone who can't consume all superhero, you're going to have to make a choice. There is potential to where you won't choose the MCU first. If you have 2 projects a year to 4 projects a year, and let's say that Superman 2 comes out when like some brand new Iron Man movie comes out or some crap, and it's not RDJ, there's a really good chance you're going to be second fiddle to a Superman 2.
And that's why I say I think, and this is the problem going back to the big Feige thing, where it's like, in no few words, Feige has been telling you the MCU, the larger MCU, does not matter.
100.
That's what he's telling you.
100%.
So why as a fan would you buy in? There's no they don't give you a reason, not because of the projects, but because of when your head honcho is coming out and saying things like this, when they tell you that, hey, we're going to change the villain, when, hey, the next film is basically going to reset everything. Again, there's no reason for you to buy in. So that's why I'm like, if you reduce your output, you're also telling me that your long-term storytelling is going to be reduced, which is making the buy-in easier for people. But it's going to, for those that want a real MCU, you're not going to get it, because let's be honest, it's the question we've been asking since day one. You already look at the chairs that we saw. The original chair stream was like, what, 30 plus actors? Tell me how you are going to balance all of those, giving each one ample screen time to make them feel like they have some sort of impact within the movie. By the way, those are not the only chairs. There's more.
A lot of stuff is
People
going
are
to fly
dying.
over people's head. Yeah. And if you do invest, by the way, there's a good chance that character is not going to carry forward. So,
Oh, just funny. Actually, you mentioned that. I want to highlight that specifically with Thunderbolts and all the Taskmaster people that saw Black Widow and like, I love this character. I can't wait to see her again. Boom, 30 seconds gone.
honestly, though, you can be
I
someone
rewatched it last night, and the 2
It felt
people
quicker?
that it felt so much quicker. But the 2
Yeah.
people that they haven't seen like anything more related. Were just like shocked that happened, and like, why? Like, it was just kind of funny. I mean, it's not funny, but it was kind of funny to watch the second because they're like, oh, like she's definitely dying from all the marketing and just knowing it was coming. It hits for other people, but
That was bad.
it was just
That
like,
was
yeah, dude,
bad.
they ruined. Oh, I guess that's something else we could.
Let's talk about
It kind of goes with their messaging a little bit, that they completely gave away. That they've been giving away a bunch of spoilers for their damn movies before they come out. That lessens the hype for people to go see it.
Okay. Let me throw this question to you, SB, then on the topic of Thunderbolts. Twofold. One, how much backstory is too much when introducing a new Marvel team like the Thunderbolts / New Avengers? And how much reveal is too much reveal when you have a scenario like this to where you're trying to introduce a brand new team.
I thought Thunderbolts had it perfect on second watch. I'm not gonna lie. I told the two people that I watched it with that they don't need to watch anything, and they asked to like explain background stuff, and I was like, no, I'm just gonna watch the movie. And I got through the movie. A couple scenes here and there you pick up like, oh, like that explains that, and like they literally have so many scenes in there where you don't have to watch a single thing, and one of the characters references the other character's backstory like so perfectly and summarizes everything you need to know. And they all hit the same in there. Like literally Yelena calls all of them out in one scene and perfectly summarizes all their backstories. It's like, oh yeah, like Red Guardian, you're a deadbeat dad that left me for the Red Room. Ghost, you kill people also. And like Captain America is a knockoff. Like they all literally get called out for one, their flaws to show the emotional impact of the story and how they bond as a team. But two, to give the freaking context of their backstories. It's right there in the movie. You don't
It's
have
crazy. Crazy
Who
they
would
put
have
that in
thought?
movies. Yeah.
Who would have thought?
Wow. If you just
Maybe
watched,
Feige's
you would
right. If
know.
people actually saw it, they would know.
He is right, but it's the way he words it too. Yeah.
It's true.
You do have to strike a balance when it comes to the backstory. But again, it's like this isn't a standalone film. And I think that's the hard part of why they keep coming out and saying these types of things, because it is a hard balance to strike. You have to be able to strike that casual balance. If someone's just walking into the movie theater to see Thunderbolts, they don't know anything about the MCU. You have to find a way to be able to tell everything, but at the same time, because this is the MCU, it is supposed to hit in a completely different way when you fully understand their backstories. And I think Thunderbolts has a great example. I think really does. You feel for John Walker. As crazy as that is to say, like when you come out of Captain America: Winter Soldier, you don't like that character. In Thunderbolts, you feel for him. Red Guardian feels way better. Yelena, way better. Bucky feels the best he has felt in years. All because of how they go through the backstory. But again, that comes with the big bubble that is the MCU. I think you should be able to find enough backstory within the movie, and they have to make it interesting in a way for you to want to go back and watch it.
Dude, it's the same conversation with Deadpool and Wolverine. It's the same conversation with that. You don't have to watch the first Deadpool movies. You don't need to know all of the origins of Logan and everything that came before that. It's a brand new Wolverine. It's a new character. So you didn't have to do homework in the first place. But you've set such a precedence that you need to satisfy the fans who know and then engage the ones who don't, to your point. And I do think that's a fine balance, but at the same time, it's a superhero movie. You know what I mean? Like, we talked about this with Superman, to where they did so many feats in one movie. The MCU is egregious at withholding action and feats and looks and moments and stuff for people all the time. Should people look different every time you see them? Maybe, maybe not. Depends. Probably a good thing for the people who did the homework. But to that point, the fourth time we see Thor and his dude, Stormbreaker's a floating joke. Like at some point, stuff like that, it's like, if you are someone who's watching, you're like, is that how it's always been? And you look at me, I'm like, no, nah, that's just a bad choice. That passed your desk, dog. You greenlit that, and you're like, cut, go for it. So, backstory, I will be extra critical and harder on the MCU for backstory, because they've chosen previously to focus so much on characterization over feats and visuals.
Yes.
I don't want to hear, oh, there might be too much time spent on, like, dog, that's what you built your legacy on, is doing that kind of crap. You've set the precedent and trained your audience to expect these things.
It's so funny. It's so funny just talking about this, and you would think it's so cut and dry, but there's so many layers really when it comes to this that I don't think even Marvel knows how to handle all of that. And I say this in specific, and I think it's a good time to mention this because SB, you kind of brought it up a little bit earlier on how they keep trying to like juggle different things at many different points, is the Miles Morales comment. Why do you bring that up? For those that don't know, Feige brought up Miles Morales and he was like, hey, basically Sony told us to stay away from Miles until they're done with the Spider-Verse trilogy. So, SB, I'm gonna ask you this question. And Lou, I'd love to know what you guys think, both of you. Do you guys think Sony is in the right to kind of do that, to be like, don't touch Miles until we're done? Or do you think that for both studios, it's just a swing and a miss? That one was intentional.
Sounds like my rivals play though.
Right.
I don't know. This comment tears me apart because it puts a nail in my
Talk to us,
Beyond
bro.
the Spider-Verse.
Show him the left arm. Show him the left arm.
Spider-Verse, Secret
means something
Wars.
different.
Yeah, you're not getting that. Sorry.
I know. But it puts a little bit of a damper in that theory. But it also doesn't, because it says a live action MCU Miles. So it could be the animated one with the other people in live action, but he's just animated.
If Kang still existed, I would buy into your theory more.
I don't know. But I think it's kind of weird on Sony to... I don't blame Sony for saying no, because they do have their own rights to Spider-Man, and I guess if they want to do their own Spider-Verse, live action Spider-Verse with Miles, that'd be pretty cool as long as it's done right. So that would be kind of like, I would be a fan of having like a Tom MCU trilogy again, or even, I don't know, maybe like a wherever they go with Tom after that, as well as like live action Miles. I don't think they're gonna align at the same time, but it'll be cool competition. Kind of like seeing how the DCU having two different Batman out there, or DC having two different Batman out there with that whole plan. But it also does feel kind of random why. I guess he was asked when that would be appearing, or when Miles would appear, and saying that is nowhere definitely makes you think that, like, do they even have Tom's trilogy planned out?
No.
My big thing would have been like at the end of Tom's trilogy is where you kill him off, and that's where you introduce Miles. So the fact that is nowhere, just like they're nowhere beginning filming Brand New Day yet.
Yeah, nowhere home.
Yeah. It starts next week though. And I mean, we just saw them make Fantastic Four within 1 year. So
a little teeny tiny story they're gonna tell. Yeah.
I don't know. That's probably gonna be the same thing with Brand New Day. Be like, hey, here's your couple street level MCU scenes. Boom, multiversal ending. Doom comes into play.
The
You're
what
not
ending?
like Mr.
What ending?
Stark.
What ending? Why?
Because Doomsday comes out the next movie. Oh.
Yeah.
And we've seen this on the freaking Beat Reporter reports too. Damn, I hate being friend. I hate following Daniel RPK sometimes.
Yeah,
I remember him saying specifically one tweet that was like, "Oh, Spider-Man Brand New Day will be like a street level to begin with, but multiverse at the end." And we're like, how the hell does that can align with anything? But it makes so much sense now that Doomsday is delayed.
It fits
Hate
better.
it.
It's
Hate
a
it.
better puzzle piece, but like we're
Just don't
hammering it in
want it to
place.
freaking. I just don't want to see the first. I don't want to see Tom say Mr. Stark to RDJ Doom. I will rip my tattoo off. Just
Like,
kidding. I'm
You
not
heard
gonna
it
say
here.
that on
You heard it
record.
here.
I'm not gonna
You
say
heard
that.
it here
Taking that
first.
off the
Point
record.
three.
Taking that
Clip
off the
it.
record. Taking
Clip
that
it.
off the
Hour mark.
record.
hey,
Yeah.
Lois pressed the recorder was
Yeah.
on. There's
You
no
had to
off the
say. You have
record
to
for
say
that.
off the record for that.
I am
Yeah.
editing this part.
Also, Mario, what's up, man? No worries. Jump on in the conversation.
Hello. There.
But yeah, no, record it. Hour mark.
Yep.
SB said he would rip his tattoo off if
Oh, yeah.
Tom says Mr. Stark.
Yeah. I'm gonna make this one real quick, guys. And I'm a big fan of K-pop Demon Hunters. If you haven't watched it on Netflix,
Heard
watch
great things about that.
dude, it's awesome. And the soundtrack is money. But Sony Animation, I think, in animation in general, I personally feel is bubbling and on the cusp of building into something greater as this generation that are being molded by Sony animated movies and just animated movies in general as they're getting bigger. Like anime, like Eastern movies are exploding and they're making more and more and more and more. And I think more people are getting introduced to it. But I do think there's a precedent that Sony Animation is setting. And I think now when you see the association that, hey, this is a Sony animated movie, you're like, damn, this is gonna be really good. And then it is. And then you're like, okay, if I were Sony, I wouldn't want the MCU to touch anything related to my characters. Do not touch it. And we talk about this all the time. And I personally am someone who I never understand why people are like, oh, Beyond the Spider-Verse is delayed. What's going on? I need it right now. When they're saying we want to make sure it's right and give you quality when we release this, then let them do it. Same thing with the Batman 2. We want it to be right. We want to get it right. But you're like, no, I need it right now. Separate conversation, but I can respect the studios that are like, no fans, like sit down and wait. Because when we give it to you, it's going to be really good, just like the previous versions were. And I think that's what you want. And I respect it. But the MCU stigma now is right on the cusp. No longer can you be a big name actor or director or writer, and it's a surefire hit. So Miles coming in, I think, could do more damage retroactively to where when you go back and watch Across the Spider-Verse, Into the Spider-Verse, or Beyond the Spider-Verse, you might have MCU thoughts that dominate. Let it finish and give it an ending. Give them something brand new and its name only. Don't pass this character on to anybody because I think it would potentially tarnish the character in the end.
Absolutely. And this is what I think some fans have kind of forgotten about is that they're like, hey, wait until we're done, 2027. By then, Doomsday and all the multiversal saga will be winding down basically at the end with Secret Wars. But the way I think of this is if they use Miles before this, what are they going to do? Something multiversal. So, like you said, people are going to go into that and be like, I'm confused. This is multiversal. Beyond the Spider-Verse is multiversal. There's different spider people everywhere. I don't like this anymore. I don't want it. But I'm done. You
Never
instantly made people buy out. Say that again.
So you can never have too many spider people.
But you can. Absolutely, you can. We've talked about this
Hey,
ad
Spidey and his
nauseum.
amazing friends is cooking for them kids.
But they're
Children.
separate though. They're separate. They're separate. I'll put it this way too. This is the other point in that I do have with it. Separate conversation. I know. But we are in Tom's like 15th appearance in the MCU, and we still have no damn clue who this guy is as Spider-Man. We don't
According to Kevin
know who.
Feige, by the way.
We don't know. He's starting off his journey. It's the first time he's going to be your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. He no longer is under the wing of Iron Man and the Avengers and happy and associated with all these. We're getting a fresh, brand new, essentially keep the history rebooted version of Spider-Man moving forward. And this will literally be his, sixth appearance or seventh appearance in the MCU?
Yeah, about 6, I think.
3 movies, 2 Avengers, Civil War.
Yeah.
6. This will be number 7. I mean, they haven't figured Spider-Man out. And I know we had that moment where we almost lost Spider-Man in the MCU, which would have really been bad. Like that would have been terrible if that would have happened. What was it 2019?
Yeah,
2018?
2019.
But I again, my faith in probably top 2 biggest superhero characters of all time is on shaky ground. Don't give us a second version. And to be honest with you, and I'm going to say it, giving us more diversity in the MCU might not be the greatest thing in the world for another character that people are going to throw into a bucket that is full is full of characters past and present right now for the MCU specifically. I know Spider-Man and Miles sit kind of outside of that realm, kind of where Black Panther is, but a live action Miles is going to have to overcome a lot of things that an animated Miles never has had to.
Yeah. And then let's take all of that out. Genuinely, let's take all of that out. This is like when you were a kid, your parents bought you a toy, and they're like, "This is your toy," and then they got you another toy, and you were like, "Cool," and you have this friend, and this friend is like, "Hey, can I play with one of your toys?" And you're like, "Yeah, you can have this one. You can play with that one." And they're like, "Okay, cool." And then they come back and they're like, "I don't want to play with this toy. Can I play with that one?" And you're like, "No." And then the kid gets mad that you don't let him play with your toy, even though you just gave him one. That is what this feels like to me, where Sony's like, okay, have Peter. We want Miles. No, you can't. You can't have Miles right now. Sorry. But I want Miles. That's what it feels like. Kick rocks, Disney. Let them finish what they're going to do. Let them finish the story they want to tell that we've, at this point, been waiting 3 years for.
No, it's not a plus for Sony to give up complete rights to the Spider-Man, and neither regular everyday Spider-Man or Miles. It just I wouldn't.
It's an infinite cache glitch,
dude. Right?
Like, there's no reason to there's people that I constantly hear that like, oh, Sony should sell the rights to Spider-Man to Disney. No, that's a one-time transaction. That is literally a one-time transaction. If they do that, there is no point for them to do that when they can be like, hey, every time you use them, you got to pay us.
Yeah, I would do it. No. I'll rip Spider-Man's tattoo off first by myself before that.
I don't want to talk about
that. Punisher would do it.
Yeah.
Oh, that would hurt.
It
make that fun.
It might hurt, but you know, there's also ripping and tearing in other MCU types of projects that, according to Kevin Feige, they do want to tell. Right? They want to tell some of these more darker, edgier tones, which, according to them, is eventually one day maybe gonna come with Blade. But gentlemen, do you guys think Marvel's ready for like these darker, more mature storytelling movies? Not just storytelling, but these more like, you know, smash mouth, brutal movies. And do you think they're going to be able to strike a balance of being able to keep people with these types of content out?
If you would have asked me this question 2 weeks ago, I would have said no. However, I think this is more of a Superman mindset now. I just simply don't think people like the light, bright, and airy type of hero. I think people want the boys and the Invincibles of the world, and people like DC, like the darker. I just think people like dark. I think people like dark. The injustice moments of the world still live on strong in the hearts of many. And that is what people want. Even Thunderbolts. People love Thunderbolts because it tells a dark story. It's depressing. People like that. People will show up. We hear it all the time with Man of Steel. I like gray. I like muted. There's a large market for it. Now, Dark Knight. Like, I want to look in the mirror and scream and like glass breaks. Like that's what I want. I'm not saying like mystical type of stuff. I just think people like to see people get mugged and beat down, and like it's a reflection of current world type of stuff. Like I just think that works. That's why for me, I don't think I think for us Blade works, but I think when you get into the mystical side of things, that thought, that grounded streets of New York, Chicago, LA type of thing, like your city vibe of like step on, off the sidewalk, might get shot type of stuff. That's what I think people will watch. But if it's vampires sucking on other vampires' necks and in like some club with techno music, people are like, I don't know. But then you look at John Wick and you're like, they do that? No, he just finishes business and people love it and they eat it up. I think there's a fine line of like when you take that mystical element out of it, it's money. But I think people A have a hard time telling that story, and B, that type of story in the MCU has been lumped into a bucket that wasn't successful.
I like that. I think it also comes down to how they want to tell this, right? And I look at Blade as such a big example where they again are just seemingly like, we don't want to do what the fans want. And what the fans want are just like, hey, give us Blade doing cool stuff. I don't really think that's hard to do. I really don't. But then you look at the things that have been successful in comparison. Now, I would say maybe your two bigger things are like Doctor Strange, your three bigger things. Aspects of WandaVision, Doctor Strange. I'll put those two together. And then Werewolf by Night. And they're like, hey, we like that. Can we do more of that? And at this point, we're writing on what, 3 years since WBN, and we've had nothing. We've had nothing. Moon Knight. People love Moon Knight now, in hindsight. And we're like, we want more Moon Knight. And they're like, no.
Oscar Isaac wanted to play him.
Yeah.
So let's do it.
Let's do it. So now, I'm
sorry to interrupt, but did he actually, was that a thing that like he actually wanted to play Moon Knight in this way?
I think he had an affinity for the character, but I don't know how.
I don't remember. We'd have to go. We'll probably make something on shorts or something about that when we look it up. But I think it was a combination of things.
Yeah,
like a Ryan Gosling Ghost Rider type of thing. Like he's just like linked to a project because we know he's been a Marvel guy. Like he was Apocalypse,
exactly.
Blah, 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 blah. So, like he's not foreign to it. And Feige was a part of those projects back then too.
Yeah.
Guys, I just don't think Blade, like, let's be honest, Cat 4 made nothing. Like, it made nothing. It was dirt. Do we really think Blade would be a profitable movie in the box office?
Probably not.
No. That movie, I bet you, is like Shazam Fury of the Gods level box office. Like, maybe it cracks 300.
After
maybe.
Deadpool and Wolverine? I don't know. I think Blade being back on that, I think that might have saved any hopes, even if it's not Wesley Snipes Blade. Just hearing like Blade brand back is probably the best thing that happened for it.
Bro, how many people like knew that they were Wesley Snipes was in 3 Blade movies? Like you could stump people on that with like classic Marvel trigger. Like, no, people hadn't seen them.
So I just think it's cool.
Here's what I'll say.
100%.
Here's what I'll say. I think Blade is able to exist outside that realm because it is Blade and the history of that character with Wesley Snipes. But it's also like Blade, I think, is your outlier for that. I think the true test would be like, how would they do Ghost Rider? How would they do these other characters?
You can't put them in this world though, for the same reasons you can't have the Fantastic Four. People are going to ask, where have you been? What have you been doing? Even Mephisto, people ask that. The execution was nuts. But there's still a looming question. If the Mephisto reveal sucked, people would be like, 1, where have you been? But 2, like that was kind of garbage. But where have you been? Who else have you been manipulating? Blah 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 blah. For Blade to be like in the shadows, like he's already in 616 with just the most questionable post credits moment. No,
Sure.
just maybe I'm never. But like, we're already asking the question, like, what have you been doing this whole time, bro? Like, we don't even have enough like evil threats to be. Well, at least you were probably off fighting them or something. No.
Yeah, which is why I think like this like darker content doesn't survive if you go into other characters. If you try to fuse it with other characters, like for example, I'm very, very curious to see how like a Punisher will work with Spider-Man. Because I think a lot of people, one, have an expectation of what Spider-Man is supposed to be now after No Way Home and all these like the rumors that have been going around for such a long time now. And then also what Punisher is. And I think like if people watch it, especially after Born Again season 1, go and then assumingly the special presentation, how are you going to go from a very extreme, very brutal Punisher to he's probably not going to do any of that?
What? Let's say they do it. Will it alienate people from MCU?
If there's an R-rated Spider-Man, absolutely. People would riot.
It's not good for the box office either.
Because let's be
I don't
honest,
care about how good Deadpool and Wolverine is, but like, that's just Spider-Man's a different territory with R-rated.
I think that would be detrimental to if a Spider-Man movie doesn't hit a. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think they could still do a very vulgar and like great Punisher that's PG-13. It's just you just can't curse every sentence, but or like they won't show the stabbings or him like actually doing it, but like I think Destin and Daniel Cretton could do some great fight choreography with them.
There's a world where Punisher gets the cap glow up in that movie, and you pull more of how Tom was in No Way Home with his aggression that he had with Goblin.
Yeah, that too. Yeah,
I think you get like a borderline, like PG-13, like high end, like violence. Like, why is it rated this? It's violent, but it's not Born Again. I'm gonna do what Frank Castle knows how to do and knife you up in a couple moves and drop you on your neck. Which, for me, that's where I go the alienating route, where I'm just like, this feels like you watered it down. Like, you're gonna have more people being like, the MCU's for kids. Even though it's still like, I wouldn't have my kids watch it, but.
And that's why I say this is like, that's why this type of content has to stay contained. It can't go where people think it could / should go. Because you think about it, like even again, you look at Born Again, there were some people online that they were like, this is disgusting. I can't believe how. And I mean,
bro,
yeah,
there were some gross parts though.
And I was gonna say, don't get me wrong, there are some parts where even I think all of us were like, ugh. And we have a pretty like strong tolerance, and even we were like, ooh, that I don't like that. Fair. And I'm not saying that, people should like that. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying you see the reaction that people had to that. This would not survive with other characters. It just wouldn't. Again, like you seeing a Spider-Man. Imagine if a Spider-Man movie had the Kingpin scene from Born Again. Dude, people no.
Yeah. You could argue it should.
I could. So here's the thing. An insinuation now because of Born Again would probably make that feel better. But I would still say there's still a subset of people who would be upset by that.
Yeah. Is that your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man type of thing?
I don't think mature content is going to have a long shelf life in the MCU if it doesn't stay contained.
But Marvel Spotlight.
That's where they should use it. But they won't. Because I think Feige forgot about Marvel Spotlight.
You don't need to know anything. Here's a 30-minute recap about the character.
Yeah.
You basically watched Hawkeye. Sure. Yeah. Listen,
That's so stupid. Spotlight versus special presentation things.
Horrible.
okay.
Horrible.
Let me ask you guys. This is my like closing final question for you. You got a little time. Mini state of the MCU. Obviously, Fantastic Four, as we had mentioned, Hero said when we open this, is like a turning point for where we're at, right? We've nerfed via Feige what's come before this movie, and we have a small inkling of what's coming after this, but looking way over the fence. Way over the fence. We did get Feige mention what's his name? I keep saying John Schneider. That's not right. What was his name? Thunderbolts director.
Oh, Jake Schreier.
Jake Schreier. Wow. Jake Schreier is rumored and semi-confirmed to be producing or directing the upcoming X-Men reboot. So for you guys, with everything we've kind of talked about to this point, how do you feel about the potential for them to either completely erase what came before in the MCU post Secret Wars, or keep the history that we have and the characters know it, but we get a brand new storyline with brand new casts, brand new actors, brand new everything? But what we've gotten over the last, by that point, 15-ish years or so, somebody knows.
The latter. I think like a soft reboot would be the best case scenario, so that they can go back and, just because since they are expediting Doomsday and Secret Wars to just get it over with, they can then go back to like where all these other people tie in, versus starting fresh. Will just be like, oh, they're just gonna do everything over again, and then like, what's the point if they're gonna be like, I don't know. I mean, restarting from scratch also sounds appealing, because then you literally have everything at your disposal. But you still do have everything at your disposal with the soft reboot, but you could go back and tie in loose threads, and then you get that nostalgic feel again. Like, who knows, maybe in 10 years you finally get whatever happens in Mephisto and Ironheart. I'd be happy with that.
Yeah.
To call back to that. Like, we were just happy with finally getting something from Hulk 2008 and paid off in Brave New World. So something like that, I think, would be pretty cool. Versus a whole reboot. There's like a lot of opportunities and potential that are still out there that just forever gone for good. Like, I hate to bring up the comparison, the Snyderverse. Do we want to get Snyder first or start fresh?
I mean, MCU is like still worlds above where the DCEU was.
Oh no, I know, but I'm just saying like that storyline is over, and
I see what you're saying.
we're never gonna get that again. Like, anything from that potential it's set up is just gone.
Okay, I understand.
For the time being.
Yeah, you can kill it. The multiverse is a vast place.
I ultimately think hard reboot, like where you erase everything, is never the answer when you are trying to have long-term storytelling. Because with a soft reboot, to where, and for those of you that don't know what a soft reboot versus like a hard reboot is basically this question of, do you wipe everything or do you pick and choose? And I think when you pick and choose, you get to pick those best aspects and be like, all right, this is what I want for my characters, with a new cast, with a new feel, with a new presentation. Like, those are all the things that you now get to play with, right? Where I think a lot of people expect certain things out of the MCU. They expect the post and mid credits. But for example, in a soft reboot, you can eliminate that if you really want to. You can make the focal point not Captain America and Iron Man. You can make the focal point the X-Men. You can make the focal point somebody else, some other character, whoever you want. But you can still honor what came before. And I think that's the best way to do it. And for those of you that know me, I will always point it to it as a shining beacon of how you should reboot something. God of War 2018 versus God of War as a series before. Different play style, right? That people, for some they don't love it, but for a lot of people do love it. And storytelling, let's be honest, is leagues above what they were telling before. And Kratos is a different character because he's grown, but he's also a very different character. Not the same character, different voice actors too. But when you realize that what came before still happened and they're able to pick and choose the moments to really confirm that that happened, it hits harder. I think the same thing could be done for the MCU.
Yeah.
And I ultimately think that's where they should go.
It's
That
like
is
what
where they should go.
Gunn is doing with the DCU a little bit with Peacemaker and Suicide Squad.
Exactly.
Which put people in a frenzy for the longest.
It has. It definitely makes it in the short term very like, what the hell is going on? Because we don't know any direction. But once Peacemaker season 2 comes out next month, we'll truly see. And that's only having to wait 1 month between Superman and that.
Yeah, no, I agree with you guys. I think if they do tie anything together with the comic Secret Wars, because it seems like it's a name only at this point, it's the rebuilding and recreation of the world. I think the one saving grace for me and what I'm holding out hope for still, if you guys know me, I've said this many times before, make the finale feel like an event.
Yeah.
Channel your inner Fortnite. Make it interactive and make it be something so insane that when you pick up, you feel like you ended something. This season is over. The Rivals does it all the time. Like, it's coming to a close. Like, you got to give fans an end to look forward to and say something else is coming, but this is ending definitively. This is done.
Yeah.
This is done. And they didn't do it well with Endgame. They didn't do it well at all with Endgame. And I think it sets you up for failure. So with that, I agree with both of you guys. Keep the history. Give us something new. Retrain and reset expectations. It'll take a little time. There's going to be some bumps for sure. But put us on a road that we know we're going to. What is the end goal for this specific story? Make it interesting. How many stories have we just read, guys? To where you're like, got it. That's where they're going with it. This road that you take, there's going to be an end, but you can jump on the journey and enjoy it way more than if you're just like, I have no clue what's happening. I have just no clue. And oh, by the way, you lied to us. So like, I really don't know now. So how do I trust what you do tell me the next time? You have to gain the fans' trust back. And a reboot and telling us that there's going to be a reboot, I think is going to be the biggest step. Secret Wars is done. It's done. There's no phase. There's no nothing. This is it. The MCU as you know it will change forever. Make it a massive event. People will show out. That will be your biggest movie.
The hierarchy of the MCU will forever be changed.
Dude.
The Rock comes down as Apocalypse.
Still wouldn't hate that.
I don't
I
mind
hated that until you convinced me of that video.
Dude,
that
it could be really good. It could be really good. I just think there's something to be said here with that whole kind of change and reboot. I think this is a test for fans. Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
This
I
is
feel like they're testing a lot of stuff out, man.
Yeah.
Like Brave New Day is gonna be a Brave New Day. What the heck?
Wow.
Oh.
Brave New World.
Parker?
Brave New World is a test of how an R-rated character can work in a PG movie.
Brave New World?
Did I fuck it up again? Brand New Day. Oh my god. What am I talking? What is
Everybody, you're looking at a fake Spider-Man fan.
Yeah, dude. Rip it off.
Tattoo off. Tattoo off.
We'll just
All right.
Cyclops laser you, bro.
Yeah.
It's off. You can't see it anymore.
No, it's not.
Dude, if it came off, I'd cry.
That'd be really funny.
Straight Zeke Sane style, baby.
Yeah. SB would legitimately cry. He'd be like, my tattoo.
I spent a lot of money on this thing.
You did.
That's fair.
Well, I think that's the show for tonight, right? I think this is gonna be one of those things that next week will be a light follow up because one, we'll know where the MCU is going a little bit, hopefully, with Fantastic Four coming out in just a few hours. Basically, we'll kind of have better ideas as to what the MCU and also this weekend is SDCC. So I wouldn't be surprised if something comes out of it. We'll see. We know Marvel isn't doing a big Hall H showcase this year, so we might not have anything earth shattering. However, you never know. Stranger things have happened. So
Season 5 coming out soon.
season 5, yeah. But gentlemen, this has been our live stream for tonight. So everybody watching, thank you so much. Whether you're watching this live or you're watching after the fact, thank you so much for choosing to spend your Wednesday with us or whenever you watch this later on. We appreciate you so much. Definitely stay tuned to the channel because we'll be talking and reviewing, gentlemen, throw them up, Fantastic Four. Going to be reviewing that real soon. Gentlemen, when are you guys going?
Friday at 8:30 in Dolby.
Potentially Friday.
The same, either Friday or Saturday for me. It's looking closer to Saturday morning, afternoonish. So maybe.
No,
maybe.
I don't know.
That's not as cool as Superman was. Superman was wild.
Yeah, the Superman was an event, and this might be. Who knows? We'll see. We'll see. Stay tuned to the review.
It's gonna be a good movie. It feels like it's gonna be a really good movie. We're gonna talk about tons of stuff, but stay with us. Should we tell them? Should we tell them what we're starting after this?
Do it,
y'all. We finished the road to Superman. We finished the road to Fantastic Four. Now it is time, y'all. Next week we are going to be starting the road to Doomsday. The clock is now starting to count down. Tons of great things on that road. We have a lot of events coming up and movies, all the good stuff. So definitely, if you like the road to Superman and you like the road to Fantastic Four, which we have a blast with, I think the road to Doomsday is going to be a wild roller coaster ride full of criticisms and loves and wants and wishes and all that kind of good stuff that all the fans usually are going to talk about. So subscribe here because we are going to be getting you as much content as we can over the next how many days, months, years, SB?
17
years. That's right.
months. 17 months. 17 months.
Yeah, no, 17 months. Everybody, don't worry. I mean, if you want to stay with us for 17 years,
please,
by all means, help us get there. Help us get there for real. So, like, if you haven't subscribed, like we said, but gentlemen, this has been another installment of the live stream Wednesday. As always, we have been your favorite trio of hosts, Lou, fantastic Brando for today, and myself, Hero Scroll. Everybody, we will see you next live stream Wednesday. And as always, SB, what do they have to do until the next one?
You gotta keep watching Fantastic Four, keep reading about Fantastic Four, and keep nerding out about the Fantastic Four.